Scenes are a construct in Flash Professional which allow us to effectively break the timeline into a sequence of smaller timelines. This lesson will examine the use of scenes within a project. So here I have a basic blank document open, and what I will do is actually create a small circle here so that we have something visible upon our stage. And I'll make some basic adjustments, simply using my color tools and the gradient transform tool in order to make it a little more interesting looking. All right, great. So here we have this ball, and what we're going to do is create a sequence of scenes out of this. So using the text tool, I'm going to name this as Scene 1, and this piece of text here, of course, isn't actually going to name the scene for us. It is simply going to go in and label it in terms of something visual that we'll be able to tell right away which particular scene we are on. So here's Scene 1, and it has a ball right here. So perhaps Scene 1, I can go in to frame 60 and right-click to insert frames up to and including frame 60. So we can see down here in the timeline that this sequence across the timeline is going to last for 2.5 seconds. So what if I want to create additional scenes? How do I go about doing that? The easiest way is to go to our window menu, go to Other Panels, and choose Scene. So this opens up the Scene panel for us. And from here, we're able to manage all of our different scenes. So let's go in and look at some of these options. We can add a scene, we can duplicate a scene, or we can delete scenes from here. If we add a scene, it's going to simply add a new blank scene. However, if we duplicate a scene, you can see this Scene 1 copy here. So maybe I'll just call this Scene 2. So Scene 1 and Scene 2. They look exactly the same when I switch between them right now, but it's actually two entirely different timeline portions right here. So for Scene 2, I'm going to actually change the name to Scene 2, and I'm going to move this ball a little bit. So here we have Scene 1, and then we can click on here to preview Scene 2. Let's add a blank one in. So this is Scene 3. And the blank one is going to allow us to do something different yet again. So I'm going to just create a big sphere right in the middle here for Scene 3. And then choose Scene 2 again and duplicate that, drag it down so you can see we can click and drag to reorder our different scenes. And I'll call this Scene 4. And maybe for Scene 4, I'll just move the ball up here. So we have Scene 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can also jump between scenes by going up to this Edit Scene button and simply jumping to our different scenes. In fact, you can see we're on Scene 3 right here. When I go up to test this movie, I can go to Control, Test Movie, or I can actually go to Test Scene. And when we choose Test Scene, it will only compile that particular segment of the timeline represented by that scene for us. However, if I go to Control, Test Movie, Test, we can see here's Scene 1, we go to Scene 2, and then to Scene 4. Now, you might have noticed there that Scene 3 only appears for a very small amount of time. You can barely see it. The reason for that is because on Scene 3, we actually only have one frame. So if we wanted to extend this, we could go up to, say, frame 80, right-click, insert frame, Control, Test Movie, and Test. And that will actually extend Scene 3 to 80 frames. You can also notice that when we get to the end at Scene 4, it actually loops right back around to Scene 1 for us. It is possible to stop the playhead at any one of these points, especially if you wanted to stop it at the end, using ActionScript. So this has been an example of how to employ scenes within Flash Professional CS6.